Hi, my name is Sarah Thibault, and this is my ECMP 455 reflection. In ECMP 455, the biggest change I noticed in myself was developing and building my own personal learning network. I used Twitter a lot and learned to scour through, find good resources, sift through the ones that weren't so good, try and take one good thing from whatever I could find. Through that, I've become a professional development nut, and I really love the opportunities I've discovered about how to do my own professional development and learning and changing my attitudes on education. I think I've learned more through that than I have probably in a couple years of university.
One portion of this course asked us to keep a blog that reflected on the weekly classes and the weekly sessions we had with different guest speakers, and we were asked to reflect about once a week. Initially I started out with a once a week thing, and then I discovered that there was some really cool stuff that I wanted to talk about on my blog or post, and so it ended up becoming a platform for me to reflect for different classes, but also just reflect on stuff that I wanted to talk about. Part of my development this semester has become wanting to reflect for my own personal professional development, rather than because I'm being asked to for a class or because I'm being graded on it. I've kind of come to realize that reflecting is probably the best learning experience you can have, and it's free, it's easy, and you can do it in 5 seconds or you can do it in 5 hours, whatever you choose.
My blog has really blossomed into my home base for my learning. I use it for everything and anything now. I use it to reflect for all my classes. I use it to just jot down things that I've noticed in class, or anything basically education related that pops up in my mind I tend to throw on there, whether it's a reflection or a great resource I found, or summaries of my Westcast trip. I use it kind of as my way of building my community, and I use Twitter to support it, but it's grown in the last few months in my utilization of it. I've really enjoyed getting comments back from teachers who say, yeah, I do this in the classroom and it works, or, oh, I've tried this and I found that this worked better. I find having that conversation and me be able to check to see, oh, so-and-so liked my post or so-and-so commented on my post has been fantastic, and it's really helped me to develop my confidence and my opinion. It's sometimes very tough to have an opinion when you're in a class of 40 people. Group discussions can be a little bit tough, but when you have a blog, you can have your own opinion, people can comment on it, and you can really learn to formulate your own thoughts and ideas about teaching. And that's really become a platform for me to almost process things. I found the writing process to be quite reflective and meditative for me almost. If there's something that's bugging me, I tend to blog about it and see where it leads me. I don't always know what the end result of my post is or what my opinion is on something, but I'll start to write and see where it takes me. Overall, I've found that my blog has really helped me flesh out ideas, and definitely my blog has been a major part of my development this semester.
So Bud Hunt came in to talk to us one day, and it was fantastic. My minor is in English, and so when he talked about digital writing, it really struck a chord with me. I haven't really had the opportunity to think much about how would I incorporate technology into an English classroom, because I've been math focused for the last few months, with internship being primarily in math. When he started to talk about doing the wiki instead of a research paper, that really hit home with me, thinking, you know, why would I collect all this information for one person to read it, rather than why wouldn't I collect all this information to let anybody who possibly wanted to read it. I mean, that builds a sense of accountability, ownership, everything that we want a student to have, it does. So that really struck home for me, and building that into an English classroom, or even somehow incorporating that into math, has a huge appeal to me. One of the turning points for me this semester was when Gary Stager came in to talk to us. Not because I agreed with everything he said, it was one of the first times I've disagreed on a few occasions. So I found he was very controversial, but it really got me to start to think and reassess my own beliefs and opinions. Primarily, he actually got me thinking about assessment and traditional ways of teaching, and that sort of inadvertently launched me into my flipped classroom, which launched me into the equity and fairness of typical assessment in a flipped classroom, which led to my personal project.
One of my favorite portions of the course was the Teach Us Something component that we all got to do. Learning through Sophia was really helpful for me, and it's definitely something I would continue to use within a classroom. Meta-teaching kind of through 3 different topics was not my most shining moment. Using Jing to talk about Sophia, to talk about flipped classrooms was a challenge, but I just had so much I wanted to talk about and explore, and I was really grateful for the platform to do so. I learned a lot about condensing a lot of information into a short, brief amount of time, and I think having to do that helped me to work through that project as well in knowing how to make a clear and concise and easy video. For my educational math class, I opted to start to explore how to do a flipped classroom. I took the polynomials unit, so I ended up flipping it. It was just so much fun. It ended up becoming this big project, and I wanted to explore it further beyond what I had set out to do in that project. Specifically with regards to assessment, I thought to myself, well, I'm taking this moral education class, we have to critically look at something within education. I wanted to explore what would be a better way of assessing than just giving everyone an exam that might not necessarily fit the way I want to teach. And it was all within the platform of technology. And so because I knew I had this class to tie all together, I was able to put it on Sophia, and I was able to really develop a good unit that's available for anyone to see. I also was able to use my blog to help me reflect on this project and gain input and insight. I also used Twitter to help build into this project. It helped me get very connected. I ran into a few different educators through their blogs and through Twitter. I also was able to, again, have that conversation in my head and debate ideas that they were throwing out and saying, I really like what they are doing here, but I think it could be better if we did this. And that's part of where the learning contract for the standards-based grading came in. I felt like that was a really good idea to implement the two simultaneously.